Tom's Midnight Garden tells the enchanting story of 12-year-old Tom, who uncovers a magical, mysterious garden during a stay with his aunt and uncle. Written by Philippa Pearce and continuously in print since its 1958 publication, the novel is now a beloved children's classic, exploring themes of friendship, loss, aging, and the passage of time. When Tom's younger brother, Peter, contracts the measles, their much-anticipated summer plans of tree climbing are ruined. To avoid infection, Tom is sent to stay with his childless Uncle Alan and Aunt Gwen, who live in a modest flat carved out of a once grand manor house. The manor's expansive lawns have long been sold off, replaced by newer buildings. Tom feels immediately out of place. His bedroom, a former nursery, has barred windows, and his uncle is stern, while his aunt's attempts to comfort him with rich foods only leave him restless. With no garden, no children to play with, and little to do except solve jigsaw puzzles, Tom grows bored and miserable. He is confined to his room for 10 hours each night, even when he struggles to sleep. One night, as he lies awake, the old grandfather clock in the hallway begins to chime. The clock, owned by their cantankerous landlady, Mrs. Bartholomew, is peculiar. It often chimes incorrectly. To Tom's amazement, it chimes 13 times at midnight. Convinced this extra hour gives him freedom, he tiptoes downstairs to investigate the clock. In the dim hallway, Tom opens the back door to let in moonlight, and is stunned to find a magnificent garden bathed in sunlight. Gone are the rubbish bins his uncle had mentioned. Instead, he sees lush flower beds, towering yew trees, a sprawling greenhouse, and winding paths leading to hidden corners of the garden. Confused and resentful of his uncle's apparent lie, Tom confronts him at breakfast. However, when Tom opens the door the next morning, the garden is gone, replaced by the promised rubbish-strewn courtyard. That night, the clock strikes 13 again. Tom returns to the back door and finds the beautiful garden restored. Exploring further, he notices something extraordinary. He leaves no footprints, casts no shadow, and can pass through solid objects like the greenhouse door. Bewildered but exhilarated, Tom rushes back inside, only to find that the hallway clock has barely advanced past midnight. The garden, it seems, exists in a world where time obeys no ordinary rules, and Tom's nighttime adventures have only just begun. Each night, Tom returns to the magical garden, where time remains almost unchanged upon his return to the present. In the garden, he witnesses its beauty through various times of day and seasons, though summer seems to dominate. Among its inhabitants, he sees a gardener named Abel, a maid, and 3 boys who often tease a young girl named Hatty. Tom longs to join their play, but soon realizes they cannot see or hear him. Hatty, however, notices Tom and introduces herself as a princess, claiming her parents are busy ruling a kingdom while she stays with her aunt and cousins. Though skeptical, Tom humors her story, and the 2 lonely children form a deep bond. They explore the garden, climb trees, chase geese, and marvel at the biblical inscription on the manor's clock, which reads, "Time no more." Each night, Tom writes letters to his brother Peter, recounting his adventures with Hatty. As time passes, Tom notices a strange disparity between his experiences and Hatty's. While he visits the garden nightly, Hatty ages rapidly and often remarks on his long absences, which seem like months to her. At times, Tom experiences the garden's timeline, jumping backward. During one such visit, he sees a much younger Hatty grieving the death of her parents. She reveals that her resentful aunt took her in as a charity child. Hatty speculates that Tom is a ghost because he casts no shadow and can pass through solid objects. Offended, Tom researches the Victorian-era clothing worn by Hatty and the others, eventually realizing that her world exists nearly a century in the past and that her manor house is the same one he now inhabits. As Hatty grows older, she begins to drift away from Tom, preoccupied with her suitor, Barty. On one wintry night, she invites Tom to skate to Ely Cathedral. Lacking skates, Tom suggests Hatty hide a pair under her floorboards, which in the present correspond to his bedroom. To his astonishment, he finds the skates the next day and joins Hatty on the frozen river that night. At the cathedral, Tom is surprised when Peter appears, but his joy is short-lived. The following night, the garden is gone, replaced by the rubbish-strewn yard. Desperate, Tom stumbles through the courtyard, calling for Hatty. His shouts awaken Mrs. Bartholomew, the elderly landlady, who invites him to her flat. There, Tom learns the truth. Mrs. Bartholomew as Hatty. She reveals that she has been dreaming of her childhood recently, and somehow Tom had entered her dreams. Their reunion is heartfelt, and they embrace like old friends. Tom's Midnight Garden belongs to the time-slip subgenre of fantasy, distinct from time travel fiction, as the ability to transcend time is portrayed as a natural, almost dreamlike phenomenon. Pearce's novel, a timeless exploration of memory and connection, won the Carnegie Medal in 1958 and has since been adapted for stage, radio, and screen. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.